of what we feel it is. So I'm just going to get one from the Cambridge Dictionary. So according to the Cambridge Dictionary, a role model is a person who someone admires and whose behavior they try to copy. Very similar to what you lot were saying, yeah? There's some admiration, yeah, which means that you see something in them that you are just in awe with. And also you try to copy their behavior. Why? Because you want to get to their outcome. Yeah? Cool. Also state, according to the KN Consulting website, there's apparently 7 traits that are attributed to a role model. Now, the first one is to demonstrate confidence and leadership. So someone who's in charge and someone who is sure about themselves. 2 is not to be afraid to be unique. Now, that is a serious one. How does that resonate with you, lot? The second one, not being afraid to be unique.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's about being confident in your own ability and in your own skin, I suppose.
Yeah, that one's about levels. If I'm being honest, that one differentiates. Like, you can have role models like generically, but when you got someone that's not afraid, whether it's taking risks or taking extra responsibilities or kind of just thinking outside of the box,
going against the grain.
Yeah, that statement right there, like exactly going against the grain. Even when everything's going one way, you choose to go the other way because you know within your heart that way. So you can see 100 people walking one way, one path. There's only one person walking that path. That shows you level. So not afraid to just do something different, or not afraid to kind of make a commitment that is not popular. That tells me levels and courage and everything. I love that.
I guess for myself, not being afraid to be unique was an attribute I achieved later in life. I think earlier in life, I was afraid to be unique. And I think it was my uniqueness that caused a lot of problems for whatsoever reason. However, as my confidence grew, as the first point states, I became my own leader. Now, what I mean by that is I weren't interested in people following me, because as a leader, I only looked forward. I wasn't interested in looking back. So if people chose to walk by my side or chose to follow me, then that's their choice. But either way, I'm still looking forward because I'm leading my own self, if that makes sense. And that grew the more I became comfortable with my uniqueness. The more I became comfortable with not having to try to be part of the crowd, try to fit in, which has always been one of my earlier struggles, me trying to fit in, me questioning why I'm not X, Y, and Z, and why I'm not this, that. And I got to a point where I was comfortable with me being me. And that's something very hard. And a lot of people don't ever get to that stage of being comfortable about themselves, because it's either shut down or because you receive negative consequences because you want to be unique. So therefore you learn by way of behavior, by way of consequences, not to be who you are, if that makes sense. And I feel that really hits home when it comes to being not only my own personal characteristics, which are just unique to myself, but also my characteristics that I can't change and that I don't want to change, which is being a black man.
Yeah, I agree with that. It also is a way of influence as well, because with today's world, we've got social media who's telling people how to be, how to dress and everything else. So that can also affect your confidence and you trying to be your own unique self because everyone else is doing the same thing. So influence plays a massive part, especially when you're growing up.
Very much so. So that's point 1 and 2. So now moving on to point 3 and 4. Point 3 says to communicate and interact with everyone. And point 4 says show respect and concern for others. These are the other 2 traits that is apparently attributed to role models. So that is communicate and interact with everyone and show respect and concern for others. What's your opinion on them 2? Is it required? Is it necessary?
I think to be a good role model or a good leader, I would say more of a good leader than more of a good role model. I think those
Right.
attributes, to me, I would akin those attributes more to a good leader, more so than a good role model.
Rather than a good role model. That's
Yes,
that's
because
interesting. That's interesting.
yeah, because as a good leader, you are aware that you have to communicate with everyone, and you have to have that respect in order to gain that respect from other people. Whereas some people that are role models may not necessarily know they're role models. They're just going through living their life doing what they think is right. So they might not necessarily have that thought in their head that they have to do these things, because they might not even see themselves as role models.
Right.